St. Thomas, Nevada is one of the few underwater cities that you can see at low tide. I'm out to explore.
Sky, how are you?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
I don't know about you, but this is a pretty good way to start the day, don't you think?
Oh, this is a beautiful area of Lake Mead. This is where the little town of St. Thomas was established in 1865.
Sky McLean is our interpretive guide for the day.
I can almost visualize it. I can almost see it.
In the distance is basically where Thomas Smith and about 10 men and 3 women in January of 1865 arrived and set up a little supply stop right there in the middle of the valley.
Life sure was different back then, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was very, very different. You know, harsh conditions. This was a key area for them to settle because there was water from the Virgin River, from the Muddy River, and the Colorado River was about 20 miles away. But in the late 1929s, they realized that the government was going to be building a dam 65 miles from here. And what ended up happening is this idyllic little town of St. Thomas had to be relocated because eventually it was going to be under 60 to 75 feet of water.
Incredible.
The Hoover Dam rises 726 feet from its foundation. It was constructed between 1931 and 1936, changing the course of St. Thomas's history forever.
Is there any chance we can get a little closer?
Sure, it's about a mile walk out.
As the waters of Lake Mead threatened, St. Thomas residents had to abandon their beloved town.
Where did they all go?
Well, many of them relocated to Overton and Logandale, which are just north of us. Some went to Las Vegas, some returned to southern Utah.
So they scattered, like seeds.
They scattered, but many of the families remained here in southern Nevada, and you'll still hear their names today, and many of them will come out and visit.
The heart and soul of St. Thomas remains on the ruins time left behind.
As we walk along, you can see in the distance here that we are coming up on the school, and you can see it's quite a large foundation. It was 3 stories high.
The St. Thomas School held up to 35 students before families had to relocate.
There were a lot of other structures here at the school. There was the Gentry Hotel, which was also a 3-story building, not too far away from here. The old country store and post office were right next door to the hotel.
Thriving community. Then they learned they have to move. They got to fold the whole thing up and get out of here. That must have been a heartbreaker for some people.
I think there was a lot of disbelief. How could something that was 65 miles away from here affect this community? But the reality was it did, and people had to decide to sell back their property to the government. They had to start disassembling their homes and moved away.
How much was the government paying? What was the going rate for a town that you're closing down?
$40 an acre for things that were unimproved, $75 an acre if it was improved. Probably a total of $500,000 for the whole community.
Amazing.
What the government paid.
Do you think there was also maybe a sense of patriotism, that we've got to do this for the good of the country?
The Great Depression was occurring, and people needed to go to work. They needed to control the Colorado River. So I think there was a certain amount of understanding. By 1938, everyone had left.
The last guy in the canoe, who was that?
He was in a small boat, Hugh Lord, and that is the story that he stayed until the water was lapping at his doorstep, and then he got in his boat and paddled away.
Hugh Lord, he always was a stubborn guy, wasn't he?
St. Thomas remained submerged for decades. Then, an ongoing drought spread across the southwest, lowering Lake Mead's levels and exposing the town's ruins.
So when the water was receding, was this one of the first things that people saw?
Yes, as the water started to lower, around 2002, people started to see the top of what we know now as the Haneg ice cream parlor.
A ghost town once concealed by 60 feet of water now welcomes visitors to discover its lost history.
Sky, this has been awesome.
Well, it's a beautiful area of the Mojave Desert. Lake Mead's a great place to visit, and we have a lot of treasures here.
Now, I know there's something that you have it means a lot to you. It resonates with you. What is it?
Yes, I have a quote from one of the residents that lived here long ago, and she says, "Some of the most beautiful memories I have are of Mother Nature. We were richly endowed by her. the mesas and the mountains surrounding our little town of St. Thomas. Sunrise, a beautiful time of the day. Long fingers of golden light fanning across the valley to touch everything and make it new. Our mountains didn't just change their apparel twice a year, they changed 4 or 5 times a day. Marva Ray Perkins Sprague.
I can't thank you enough, Sky. I
Thank you.
really
It was a
appreciate
pleasure.
It was a great morning for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I find so interesting is that I'm sure there was a time when nobody thought that this town would go away. There was 500 people, there was a post office, a school, an ice cream shop, but things changed in the twinkling of an eye, and it all had to do with the water. And then the water receded, and we got to go through and explore the town again. But the water hasn't come back. And again, things are changing. And it just makes me wonder, if we're not careful, what does our past say about our future?